Too bad DDD's true theme song isn't here.
He's the one coming at ya! Yeah!
It would have instantly been the best song in the entire game. I love me some good old Kirby. The pink puffball has only been getting better with each entry, with Forgotten Land on the Nintendo Switch absolutely blasting away any expectations critics and fans alike had. But one of Kirby's newer adventures has always stuck with me, and that's Kirby Planet Robobot. This game, while still being a 2D platformer like most other Kirby games, shakes up the formula by adding a robot invasion, with Kirby waking up from his usual nap only once they've almost completed their goal. And that's apparent even from the music alone. This game is a huge departure from how normal Kirby games really sound. But I'm extremely biased with this game, you can see that. So how can I get a fresh opinion on this game?
I can help you there.
Michael Jose, from the YouTube channel Michael Jose, what are you doing here?
I mean, you asked me to be here, so... Like you said, this game is a big departure from how normal Kirby soundtracks usually go. And I'm not exactly familiar with Kirby's songs or games. Heck, the most that I know about him is from Smash Brothers. And you know what that makes me? Perfectly unbiased and impartial. I can judge the soundtrack without even knowing where each individual song takes place in the game.
And since I'm such a fanatic for this game, I can talk about the way this soundtrack actually does fit into the game's different areas. It's perfect.
Basically, we'll be picking out some of our favorite tracks and moments from this game, and we'll go into detail about how the songs and instruments impact that section of gameplay or story. I've been grabbing a little sneakity peekities of the game on YouTube. I watched the full thing and I am so excited to talk about it.
I guess here would be a good spoiler warning. The game has been out since 2016, but the story is honestly amazing, and we'll be going over story beats as well as rewards for later in the game. So, spoilers, I guess? Anyway, let's get started. Actually, before we get started, just want to give a quick shout out to Retro Archive. They're the ones who provided the game footage, and a link to their video will be in the description. Now, let's get started.
I think the easiest place to start is the opening movie, which looks great, with plenty of fun action as King Dedede and Meta Knight fall to the robotic empire. But the music really helps sell the robots taking over the planet, with a transition from the calm orchestral opening to the fast-paced synth, slowing down to emphasize when Kirby wakes up and finally realizes everything is different. Throughout the entire thing, you can hear little bleeps and bops of robot sounds, and it builds and builds until it slows back down, which lines up perfectly with the action taking place. Without it, the cutscene wouldn't be nearly as impactful.
After that, we're dropped into level 1, and oh boy, the music is just perfect! The level immediately shows off how the world has changed with a slow pan of the camera revealing the planes were indeed patched by this robotic corporation. And the music is perfectly set to fit, being as upbeat as you'd expect from level 1 in a Kirby game, with one key difference. The music isn't filled with a nice symphonic main selection of instruments used normally in Kirby games. They're still making up the background of the song, but the main instrument used is synth. And just one change to a song's lineup of instruments completely recontextualizes the entire feel of the level. It feels like a constant reminder throughout the rest of the game that this isn't a normal happy-go-lucky adventure. You've got stakes and friends to save. Once you get through a bit of level 2, the main gimmick of Kirby Planet Robobot is shown off. You beat a mini-boss, which is a grunt of the corporation controlling a mech. And after disposing of the pilot, the mech is left out for you to hop into. This triggers Robobot mode, where Kirby somehow intuitively knows the controls for the mech and goes on an absolute rain of destruction. Nothing can stand in Kirby's way when he's got this. And the music for getting in the mech is a rockin' beat, with electric guitars forming the main melody, accompanied by small beats of synth when the music calms down a little bit. The drums are kicking the whole time, and the way the pitch increases near the end of the song's loop really emphasizes action and power. It fits the theme of our organic hero taking control of a robotic suit of armor to fight back against a robot empire. And that's good, since that's the plot, you know.
As you progress through the game, you notice that while the streets are littered with workers from the robotic corporation, the normal Waddle Dees and Doos have also started embracing the technology surrounding them. That leads us to the first world of level 2, which is themed around an urban area with spotlights for the Waddle Dees driving cars, probably on their way to work, so they can support their families. And this section has by far one of my favorite tracks in the game, Yearning for Yellow, Vroom, with the exclamation point and in parentheses. Yes, that's actually the title. The melody is absolutely infectious, and it easily gets stuck in my head for the rest of the day. it still fits the tech-filled world while providing a fun and energetic beat to travel to, which is perfect for Kirby. A little while later, still in World 2, we find a casino. I'm not sure if it was made by the company taking over the world or if it just existed normally beforehand, but this is one of the most fun levels in the game. Billiard balls fly around as giant obstacles and you have to try and avoid getting squashed by giant dice. You even get to play a game of pool in your Robobot armor. It's all super fun, and the music is absolutely perfect, utilizing this fast-paced and goofy ragtime style. I love the way that some synth just seeps in every once in a while to remind you what game you're playing. I love the electric piano coming in midway and the little simulated tap dance battle. Oh my god, can you tell that I love this song? It's great!
A while into the game, at World 3's boss fight, we meet a character named Susie. She identifies herself as the chief secretary of the corporation controlling the world, which she gives us the name of Haltmann Works Co. The most interesting thing to note here, at least to me, is her theme song, or rather, this version of it. Susie has two different versions of her theme song, and we hear the second variation here. The first variation, which plays at World 5's boss, is nearly the same, but they use a new kind of instrument to simulate her singing, which she does here. She sings the company's anthem, and the song is befitting of it. The song is long, slow, and dramatic, and it does a great job of sounding corporately safe, while sounding evil at the same time. The song also contains the main Haltmann motif, meaning it's going to show up again later, and when a Haltmann character shows up specifically. The captions for Susie's singing are in time with the song itself, so we get a basic idea of when the lyrics would play in time with the song. The lyrics sound, get this, robotic, but not as in the instrument used. Susie sings about how she pledges her life to the corporation and wants nothing more out of life than to please the higher-ups. She explains, once she sees we've heard her, that she enjoys working here, having all of her moves watched over. She then hints about a computer being wrong about Kirby, which we'll cover later.
After we beat her in a boss fight and she flees, it's off to World 4, the desert. The first level in this world is, in fact, a desert, which I can already hear some of you guys groaning at. Another boring Sahara-esque desert? Pfft, every video game does that. But let me stop you there for a second, because this one is different. This is what used to be a roaring river, but we can see that Haltmann has used up the natural resource of water, and it's now completely dry. And the music really helps to tell that story. I'm not sure what kind of drums those are, but they do an amazing job at keeping the tension high while still feeding the idea that Planet Popstar has really suffered because of the corporation. Of course, there's still some synth to remind you that this is Kirby Planet Robobot, but with the main instruments sounding so natural, it really sells the idea that something super important here was just taken. To be honest with you, it's a little bit unnerving.
Now, after we've trekked through World 4, we meet up with Susie again. We catch her singing, but this time her explanation is a simple, it's catchy. She then unveils her newest project, Mechanized. Meta-Knight transformed from a noble swordsman into a blindly obeying machine. Susie tells us she picked him out of everyone to roboticize because he impressed her. Then she unleashes him on us, and the music is just your standard boss music, not much to note. But then, we make it to the 6th and final world. At this point, we're at the final boss. This is what we've been building up to the entire time. We meet up with Susie inside, and we kick off the beginning of the final boss fight with a revamped Meta Knight boss fight. And this fight has a remix of the original Meta Knight fight theme from the original Kirby Superstar way back on the Super Nintendo. This remix is tense and quiet. Your immersion in the fight is tripled, and then the music gets louder, replacing the main synth with a shredding guitar, and the fight gets even better. Every time I think a song has reached a climax, it keeps topping itself.
Once we defeat and free Meta Knight, President Haltmann shows himself. He proceeds to explain his plan to use a supercomputer to take over the natural world and all of its resources. Then he hops into his own personal mech, ready to take Kirby head-on. Now, I couldn't list half of the instruments used here, but I think that really adds to the song, as it is chaotic, fast-paced, and downright insane, which fits Haltmann really well. When the guitars kick in and the song speeds up, I start sitting closer to the edge of my seat, eager to see and hear what happens next. His constant mechanical laughing feels like it was a part of the song as well. All of it really captures just how far gone the president really is. Then the song calms down just a little bit and you can hear the main Haltmann motif that Susie was singing earlier, which, while making sense since Susie just likes her company, it's all the sadder when you know the real relationship between Susie and Max. Oh yeah, his full name is President Max Profit Haltmann. I thought that was a fun joke.
Once we defeat him, his essence is absorbed by the supercomputer, which basically then says, "Man, alive stuff sucks. I'm gonna go get rid of it all," and books it. Kirby, Meta Knight, and Susie team up to stop the raging machine, and we begin the true final boss. We race atop the halberd and begin an epic space chase as we try to stop the supercomputer. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this is by far the best song in the entire game. Mind in a Program is an elegant orchestral song that encapsulates the true essence of Kirby Planet Robobot. The song starts off slow and almost dreamlike as we first take to the stars. Then it's fast-paced and action-packed. As we get closer to destroying the final boss, the song gets more menacing before soaring with intense brass and beautiful strings. The piece is adorned with little technological chirps, because this computer is the main reason the company arrived at Planet Popstar in the first place. The song even has plenty of motifs from Kirby's Green Greens to Meta Knight's Revenge to the theme of Haltmann. I absolutely adore this song, and quite frankly, I'm so unbelievably angry the song was not included in Smash Ultimate.
What is this?
Now we're gonna jump a bit farther into the game. Let's say you've 100% completed the game, you've beat the bosses, found all the secrets, even beat minigames and side modes. What do you get as a reward? 3 things. A cute little cutscene of Kirby dancing in front of a crowd.
Aim.
Another cute little cutscene of Susie singing the company's anthem for President Haltmann, and the main menu music changes. And the song that plays is absolutely worth completing the game for. The main menu changes from some techie bleeps and bops to a completely orchestral rendition of level 1-1's theme. No longer can you hear any semblance of technology, minimal or otherwise. No synth, no dubstep, no other third thing. This song is proof that you've succeeded in driving off the robotic invaders. Planet Popstar is back to its former glory thanks to you. A bit cheesy, but come on, that's such a great reward.
There's so much more we could have talked about here, like the remix of Kirby 64's factory theme or the final boss's second phase, but I just gotta be honest, I don't want to write any more of the script. How'd you enjoy your time with Planet Robobot, Michael?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. It was quite an enjoyable experience. As my first introduction to a Kirby game, I couldn't have asked for more. I'm definitely intrigued to check out some of the other Kirby OSTs after listening to how good this one was.
Glad to hear it. To be honest, I was worried you wouldn't enjoy it that much considering how almost complex the game is, but with that said, thank you so much for being here. A link to Michael's channel will be here in the description, and I highly recommend that you check it out. He's got some amazing content over there.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And thanks so much for having me on, by the way. I'm a real big fan of your stuff. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to Average Boy if you aren't already. And if ever you need somebody uncultured in any sort of music for any game, I would be more than happy to join again.
Oh god, you got me all giddy now.
Let me know some of your favorites that went untalked about here in the comments. And with that said, thanks for watching. Goodbye.